Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to The Product Designer. This is Jimmy, and today, it's going to be a good one. I know you guys are going to like this one. It's going to be all about how to sketch like an industrial designer. So you guys often ask me, how do I sketch better? Well, really, you don't need to sketch as good as you think you need to. It's really easy to think that sketching is all about trying to draw a pretty picture, and that might be true for other fields, but for industrial design, using sketching is a great way to get your ideas really quickly onto paper and be able to show them to other people. Honestly, what makes a good sketch is to be as clear as you can and as accurate as you can to the idea or the vision that you have in your mind. So we're going to be going over some examples of sketches that I found online that I really like. I'm going to be talking about why I like them and what makes them good, and just focusing on the way that they presented their sketches, because you could present them in a ton of different ways. So let's take a look at the first example right here. When you're trying to depict something accurately, you want to draw it in perspective. And if you're an industrial designer, you probably have drawn a million cubes already, but this one is cool because I really like how they chose the angle. It's very dramatic, kind of like a 3-point perspective, trying to make it just a little more interesting. I also like how they drew the lines a little bit past the cube. They also bolded it really well so that you could really focus on the cube. If you're going to be doing a shadow or just something completely dark, that's a great way to do it, where you're doing a lot of tight hash lines and just filling it in with a light marker. So when you're trying to design something, I really recommend sketching it on straight on orthographic views, because it'll make it a lot easier for you just to focus on the design over trying to draw something in perspective. This is a great tool to model your sketches after, because it really shows the different forms and ideas that they were considering, and that's just what a lot of people like to see, just the different ideas that you actually considered. They decided to sketch in red too, and personally I sketch in blue, so you don't always have to feel like you have to sketch in black. This is another great way too to show off your sketches, is to just take a picture of it at an angle and maybe just have your pen in there instead of just scanning it in like this example. But you know, either way works. It's really just up to you. And I really like this sketch right here, because most people think that in order to draw a good sketch, you know, you got to kind of overcomplicate it and add a lot of detail. But this is really simple, straightforward. I can understand it right away. Being able to sketch well and quick is really about mastering how to draw the very basic geometric shapes, stuff like pyramids and spheres and cubes and cylinders. Because if you carefully observe products, most of them are based off of these forms. The general form of the product is based off of these primitive shapes. As you guys can see right here with these binoculars, it's literally just two cylinders drawn side by side with details added onto them. And again, I just want to reiterate, because I don't really hear too many people talking about this when they're teaching industrial design sketching, which is you want to be able to draw them fast, but at the same time have your viewer, have yourself be able to understand them right away. That'll just make your sketch way better than something that's over designed or over sketched. Again, just another great example. Boom, when I look at this thing, I can understand it right away. So that should be your goal when you're sketching. So now with tablets and sketching apps, you don't have to draw with a pen and paper. You can do it digitally. And I think this is a great example. Again, it shows off the straight on orthographic views like I talked about. And I really like it too, because you can just render in really quick, just like a marker, and it just adds so much more to the sketch. So this is a very standard way of showing off your sketches. You know, you just have a bunch of sketches, you scan them in, and you compose them all together. And it gives you a really cool looking page, but I gotta tell you guys, if you're gonna be doing it this way, it's gonna be very time consuming, just because you gotta scan everything in, you gotta remove the background, and you gotta compose it all together. And the hardest part of this one is to just make the background completely consistent color. Kind of like this one here where they scanned everything and composed it. I like this one just because they have 3 different groups, kind of telling me that, oh, they design things in phases. And I liked how they render things every once in a while, kind of just showing that they're experimenting with certain ones, they're trying to explore ones a little bit further. So this here is just another simple digital sketch, but what I wanted to focus on was the industrial design style. What we tend to do is we like to draw the lines even past the object, and it just kind of adds a little more style to it, a little more emotion, and it's a great idea to develop your own style and stand out from the crowd of industrial designers. But always, again, keep in mind that the sketches is all about trying to be as clear as possible to represent your ideas. Just don't go too overboard with it, because that really defines the industrial design style versus, say, an artist or an illustrator. So since we're on the topic of style, I love looking at Sangwon sketches, and you guys can see that there's a specific style to it. It's very expressive and emotional, but at the same time, you could still understand the forms and what the product is. And honestly, that's the main reason why I like looking at designer sketches over any other type of style, just because the designer and the sketcher has really considered the form and showing it off as clearly as possible. Just like what you guys see here, they also use contour lines to really help show off that form. Definitely something that you guys can use. So this sketch and presentation is actually very interesting to me, just because, you know, it's very common for us to bunch in a ton of different sketches in a small area. And so how they were able to have things stand out or have the viewer kind of focus on a certain detail is that they kind of spotlighted the certain aspects of their sketches, which is, you know, definitely something that you guys can also do. So I'm going to wrap it up right there, guys, but sketching is such a huge topic in industrial design, so there's probably going to be a part 2 and a part 3. The main thing I wanted you guys to take away from this video is to crush that idea of trying to draw a pretty picture. That's not going to make you a good designer. You know, you're totally missing the point if that's what you're trying to do. Sketching is such an incredible way to be able to show off your ideas in a very fast and quick way, you know. It's kind of like when somebody writes something down to figure out their thoughts. You're trying to sketch your ideas out, trying to figure them out, work through your designs, figuring out what's it going to look like, how's it going to work. Alright guys, if you liked this video, definitely hit that thumbs up button. Also leave a comment down below. If there's any other thing you'd like me to talk about, definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And the biggest part is to share these videos with any other industrial designers that you know so that they can also benefit. Alright guys, this is Jimmy and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.